As you can see in Revelation chapter 8 verse 12, and the fourth angel sounded in 1948, but what follows won't happen until 666, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, the same third that get killed spiritually when all six trumpets of deception are sounding at the same time, meaning most Christians, the only ones that can die spiritually. So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it in the night likewise, the other two-thirds being the non-Christians who have been darkened already, meaning they'll already be spiritually dead when most Christians become spiritually dead also. 1948 being when this final generation began, meaning the generation of the fig tree, when Kenite-occupied Israel came into being, and remember it was fig leaves Adam and Eve covered themselves with after Satan impregnated Eve with Cain, and from Cain would come the sons of Cain. You could even say education, economics, politics, and religion line up with the last four Kenites listed in Genesis chapter 4, beginning with Jubal, who was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ, which lines up with education because of the technology that began to be developed in 1830 that allows Satan's deception to be transmitted by the Kenites through the airwaves in the same way the sounds of musical instruments travel through the air, followed by Jabal, the father of such as dwell in tents and of such as have cattle, lining up with economics obviously, then Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron as in weapons of war, which lines up with politics, and then by process of elimination, Naama lines up with religion. The Nakar in the Hebrew is symbolic of the strange, meaning the foreign woman, as in the Kenites who are foreign to Christianity, with the Zer being the apostate woman, as you can see on page 871 of the Companion Bible. 666, meaning the sixth seal, the sixth trumpet, and the sixth vial, which is when Satan appears as the Antichrist, being when the Zer and the Nakar merge together religiously when most Christians become the whore of Babylon as opposed to the virgin bride of Christ. That's when they get grafted into Satan's family tree along with the Kenites, who are the natural branches thereof. The first seal and the fourth vial line up with the fourth trumpet, so then 144, which lines up with the hidden dynasty of religion, as well as Mark 13 verses 5 and 6, where Christ says, "Take heed lest any man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many," which is ultimately looking forward to when Satan appears in Jerusalem at 666 as the false Christ, but it's also a warning against being deceived by those who claim to be Christians, and even those who are Christians deceiving you about the chronological order of events that lead up to the return of the true Christ at the seventh trumpet. The true Christ being the rider of the white horse in Revelation 19, who won't return at all until 2.5 months after Satan appears as the false Christ, meaning the rider of the white horse in the first seal in Revelation chapter 6, as you can see when you look up that word translated as bow there, which means as the simplest fabric, as in a cheap fabric imitation of the true Christ. As you can also see when you look up that word translated as bow, it's from the base of number 5088 in the Greek dictionary of the Strong's Concordance, which means to produce from seed, and it's the Kenites that plant the seed of the mark of the beast in the foreheads of most Christians through education, economics, politics, and religion, which line up with the first four trumpets that began to sound in 1830, 1913, 1945, and 1948, which is again when this final generation began, when Kenite-occupied Israel came into being, setting the stage for Satan to appear in Jerusalem when all six trumpets of deception are sounding at the same time. That's when the seed of the mark of the beast will come to fruition in the foreheads of most Christians, with the in their right hand part meaning the work they'll do for Satan because they'll think he's Jesus' return. That's why Christ says his return at the seventh trumpet will be as a thief, meaning unexpectedly to those who will be deceived into thinking Satan is Jesus 2.5 months beforehand. They'll think Christ already returned, not realizing it was really the false Christ, meaning that old serpent called the devil and Satan who impregnated Eve with Cain in Genesis chapter 3.